Hey everybody, Adam Davidson, RadCast. Are there two kinds of fear? Let's talk about it. First, in Deuteronomy chapter 31, verses 13. Actually, make that 12 and 13. This is what we read. Here we go. Assemble the people, men, women, children, that's everybody, and the foreigners residing in your towns, that's really everybody, so that they can listen and learn to fear the Lord your God and follow carefully all the words of this law. Their children who do not know this law must hear it and learn to fear the Lord your God as long as you live in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. And that's the word of the Lord. Confused yet? I mean, we've been talking about fear here on RadCast all week, and here we go. The Bible is actually making it sound like fear is a good thing. Well, it kind of is. Remember that yesterday we talked about the fact that fear is an unfortunate necessity of a broken world. It wasn't supposed to be this way. Adam and Eve kind of messed it up, and if they hadn't, somebody else would have. I would have. Something in us just wants to be selfish and go after our own stuff and separate from God, which is the essence of sin. And now we live in this world where God has to create these factors that will keep us alive because now death is possible. We'll talk about that in a second. So now I would submit to you that there are two kinds of fear. One is a good fear, one is a bad fear. There's a protective fear, which is like a conserving, it's sort of a guarding fear that keeps us alive and keeps us on the right path. That's a good fear versus a destructive fear, which is a bad fear. So when Moses is writing in Deuteronomy and he says, assemble the people and teach your children to fear the Lord, he's saying we need to teach them a protective fear. That's not a destructive fear, although religion has certainly twisted it all around so that it has become destructive. He says we're going to teach them to fear the Lord. I submit to you this one example right here. Now, we love playing frisbee and soccer and basketball out in the front yard. Just a few days ago, this isn't footage of that, by the way, but just a few days ago, Cam and I were playing frisbee on a balmy January afternoon here in Michigan out in the front yard. And wouldn't you know it, the frisbee ended up going right into the street. Now, you and I, as adults, know that traffic is dangerous, as we can see here. So what we've had to do over the last little bit is teach Cameron that traffic is dangerous. You got to watch out for cars. Cars can hit you. Cars can hurt you. Cars can even kill you. So we live in a world where we have to teach a protective fear to Cam. We have to say when you get out to the street, if the frisbee or the basketball's out there, you got to look both ways before you cross. Watch out for these 2-ton, 3-ton vehicles that can smush your little body, and go get the thing and come back in. What did we have to do? We had to teach him a protective fear. What is Deuteronomy saying? We have to teach a protective fear. Now let's talk about the word fear. Let me make two statements. I love my wife. I love Brittany. I love her more than I thought love was even possible. It's incredible how much love I share with my beautiful wife. Now, here's my other statement. I love coffee. I really love coffee. I don't know where my mug is, my normal mug, for those of you who watch, but I love coffee. Now, I've just made, two very, dissimilar statements that kind of use the same word in the middle, that definitely use the same word in the middle. Love means very different things. There are things that I will do for my wife that I won't do for coffee. And I suppose there are things I'll do for my coffee I won't do for my wife, but that's for a different RadCast. Love is such a funny word. It means so many things. So is fear. Now, all of a sudden, fear takes on a whole new dimension. There are protective fears and destructive fears. Remember, this week in RadCast, we're trying to build something, so it all seems like sort of disfigured and irregular. Wait till it all comes together. I can't wait. I'm so excited about how God is leading us. But just for today, I ask you this simple question. Which voice are you listening to? And we ended there yesterday, too. Is there a fear in you that has a reverence and a respect and an awe for God, which is a protective fear? Or is there a fear in you that has I'm genuinely afraid, like he's going to get me or he's not giving me what I want? Is it that kind of fear? And I'll give you an example of how Satan twists reality so that God's protective fears become destructive fears. Here's just one for today. In the garden, the serpent, of course I hate snakes, the serpent says to Eve, God knows if you eat this, you're going to have your eyes open. The serpent makes the case, which is a lie, that God is holding back from Eve. So Satan takes a protective fear and twists it into a destructive fear. This is why we have to know the voice of truth. This is why we must fear the Lord out of reverence, out of awe, out of respect, because it's not possible for us to just waltz into his presence anymore. Why doesn't God fix it? Why doesn't God fix this great gulf between him and us? He has. He's done it in Christ. More tomorrow. Until then, keep commenting, share your thoughts, share the video, and let's continue this conversation. I'm so excited. Be not afraid. That's RadCast.